It is Thursday. I already posted the prior week's work, and I guess I got to stand in front of this sign again, in case the folks don't realize that you actually zoomed in on Power Play Garage, put the @ sign in front of it. If you went on there and subscribed, that'd be awesome. So today starts another segment of this gorgeous 1933 coupe, and I'm not just saying that because it doesn't belong to me, but a lot of work's been getting done to this car, and I'm about to take you into the spray booth and show you. And today starts the assembly of that frame so I can actually roll it out of the booth. So let's take a little gander in there. Alrighty, only a couple of parts are hanging because I've been taking them down, and actually there's 4 of them right there that I'm going to put on the frame before it rolls out of here, because I'm in the booth with the air conditioning running. It is just ungodly, humid, hot, stuffy out there, and that's fine and dandy. But I just got done cleaning the front axle with the, where'd it go? I don't know where I put it. With the super fine steel wool. Oh, there it is. I got a little bit heavier stuff there and a lighter stuff there. So if I came across stuff that was heavy, that took it off quicker. Now I didn't bother with the backing plates because they got to be removed for the disc brakes to go on the front. But other than some scars that maybe the prior owner hit something and scarred into the metal, but that tube looks pretty darn good. And I'm fixing to roll it on in there and get it into place. But what I might do is I might put the back wheels on first to help stabilize this a little bit better. But I got the aluminum foil off, that I was talking about, and also in the front here, the aluminum foil. And before I covered this, I actually took the steel wool over it, so I wouldn't have to worry about when I go to clean it if I was going to mark up the freshly paint, which I thought that was a better idea. Both sides, pretty shiny, looks great against the black, and that's pretty much that. It's really nice. I love the way it actually feels. It's so smooth. Clear coat usually does that, but in the meantime, I've been running a test on a problem I told you I've had with these blowers that exhaust, in this case, supposed to be whatever is in the air of the spray booth. And it's been nonstop running. The first part of what my experiment was is without the tube. I had that off. Got to be at least, I had it off 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And now it's been on there at least 15 minutes and it has not shut off yet. So what I'm thinking is, these things are temperature controlled. When they get too hot, they will automatically shut off and then start back up on their own. Well, even though they didn't kick off for a long time, I don't want them kicking off, so that's why I'm running these tests. And I noticed that even though I have 2 big return filters into what would be actually your booth for setting up your paint, but here's the tube in the box, the trunk for the return. It's being filtered, but then I had another filter on front of that. And that ends up with, whatever color you're spraying. But I saw the tube on the outside, it started collapsing. I came in and checked it, took the filter off, and then it opened up and a lot more air is flowing through. So I'm kind of thinking the restriction on the AC side would be the same effect on that blower side. And I think I'm going to have to get different filters so that's less restriction and pull that's being created, because I have to put a metal grate on the front so that the filter doesn't get sucked in. And as it's filtering between, whether it's primer, paint, clear coat, or whatever, obviously the filters collect it and start getting clogged. And I normally go through 6 filters, and even though I changed them, it still did the issue. So I got a feeling these are really not to be filtered in the front like that. I'm not sure, but I'm going to come up with something and make it happen so it continues to run as it does now. Well, in the meantime, I think I'm going to turn it off. I believe I've experimented long enough. Yeah, there you go. And that this way, I can hear myself think. So showing the frame again, I'm about to roll that underneath there, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. I'm recapping, but I'm going to get some wheels on there and go from there. So I'm going to go get the tool to put those special lug nuts on and my impact gun and put them on there and lower it down on the wheels to make it stable. And then this way I can comfortably work without concern of something happening and put that axle back on there carefully. But I know I have to clean up the brackets first. I'm going to take steel wool over them and make them nice and pretty. Obviously take the tape off. But that's the scoop for now. So in the meantime, until the next little thing I decide to film, stand by. I'm back, and there it is. It is put together. It was fun, and as you can see, I took the steel wool, I'm sorry, the fine steel wool over this, all the chrome, including a lot on the inside of the wheels, all of them, and I also made sure I went around where all the lug nuts would go on there so it would be easier, and then I dressed up on the outside, and it really cleaned them up nice. But there's one bar left to put on that's part of the steering. It latches right there next to the chrome one. That one's black actually. Back wheels are on. It is lowered. So really all I got to do left is put that bar on. And I already bought the hardware for those brackets that get mounted to the frame. And that's going to be next. Putting them on. They're all numbered. So I'll be putting them in place. And this is loose actually. Yep, this is loose. I put this down like so. I will put this over here. Unscrew this. Alright. Alright. All is good. This thing is off. Maybe I should have painted that. Not. Waste paint, waste time. But there it is. Almost ready to roll on out of here. Yep. I'm going to see about putting that piece on too. And the other, there's another part that's missing. That's a rubber part that goes on there for that. So I'm going to get them. But for the moment, I might as well let this down. Yeah, going down. Ah, that's nice. Yeah. I put two 2x8s underneath there to make sure I got enough height when I was lifting it up. So right now I guess it's kind of biting me, but it's only wood, so I should be able to pop that out of there. Where's the hammer? I should say the mallet. Alrighty. There you go. That took care of that silliness. Right now it's dinner time, so I'll either come back afterwards and put those on, which I believe that's what I'm going to do. Kind of wrap this thing up so first thing in the morning I can clear the spot out inside the building and get that in there, and kind of really going to switch everything. Take where the body is and move it where the frame was, and then all that, so that this way I can get that body out very carefully. That's going to be a treat. Can't wait to show you that one. So in the meantime, stand by. Hey, good morning, and I'm back. I didn't want to do any more to this last night after dinner. I'm trying to get some other situations solved with my own personal stuff, like trying to get power down to my gate, and that's been a real challenge. But nevertheless, I'm going to be putting the other steering rod on. I freshened it up yesterday. Now I'm trying to get the tape off of it. Yeah, it's really funny. You put it on, but you can't get the darn thing off. So, gotta cut it off. This green tape I've got, it's pretty interesting. Where I really need it to stick, for some reason it comes loose. Don't know why. So I don't use it when I'm actually taping up a car. But stuff like this, it's okay. It's no issue. It's just a matter of covering a bolt. Oh, look who came inside, Miss Puss in Boots. It's got to be the second time ever. Hopefully she'll hang out in here today, because there's a heat advisory, and it's been going on for a few days. And yesterday I got to work in here with the air conditioning on, and it was still kind of warm, but it's okay. Yep. Right, kitty? Yeah, she's waiting for me to keep petting her. But she doesn't realize I gotta keep working. Right, kitty? Yes, Puss in Boots. Yes, good kitty. She brought me a little mouse yesterday. She left it on the sidewalk. She dropped it. She looked at me and she walked away. So I petted her for taking care of the mouse problem. I didn't want to film that. I don't think really anybody wants to see the mice issue. Right, kitty? Yeah, she's my little friend during the day. And even at night. She wants to be petted all the time when she wants to. Doesn't care if you want to do it or not. Yeah, that's Puss in Boots mojo. Right, kitty? Yes. Yes, kitty. I think she's going to like it in here. I don't want to spook her. Here she goes. Alright, so I'm only going to be able to obviously attach one side, and then I'm going to put the other side up. Boy, that seems kind of close. That's interesting. Certain things you just don't notice when you're taking it apart. And I'm going to point out something I noticed yesterday when I was putting the front axle on after it was on. There she is. Yeah, she's going to hang out inside. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you. And I took care of what I saw because I didn't like the way it looked. And I'm sure it would have been fine, but in my mind, not so much. So all leaf springs come with the center pin. It's an alignment pin. And it goes down to, let's see, zoom in here better, right there, and it goes down through all the leaf springs. And it's a hardened, basically nut and bolt. And at the bottom, it's round, and it goes into the top perch of the axle, and the same thing on the rear. And after I got done bolting it up, I noticed that there was a gap on one side, and it was, at a little bit of an angle. and those babies were tight. So I checked the other side, and it was the same thing. So what I did was I loosened up the brackets, the U-bolts, lifted it a little bit, separated it, and got metal plates, painted them, and sleeved them in there. And now it's nice. It's flat on both sides, and it connects. So for me, it's more secure. And see, there's Puss in Boots. Yep, she's walking across. Yeah, I'm sure she's going to stay in here. Right, Puss in Boots? Yeah, she's my little buddy, like I said. Once again, wants to be petted. So I took care of that, and as you can see, it's so shiny and chromy. I spent all that time using the fine steel wool over it to make it really pop. So that's all done. I'm going to tighten that up, and then I'm going to take this into the other steering rod, and then start putting on the reinforcements for the running boards. So when they're on, I'll chime back in. So in the meantime, Puss in Boots says, stand by. Yep. Okay, I'm back, and I figure on the last one that I'm putting in, I show you what it takes to actually, nothing major, but just a little tip, I guess, what it takes to actually put it in. There's two bolts that come out of the front, and there's one that comes up from the bottom. So I have the two sit in there, but they're not tightened up yet. And then I take this other one. I use a flat washer on pretty much the end of it, and then I take a lock washer to the other side. Pop this up through. These ones back here were much easier to put in because the frame is open. On the ones on the front, they're not open, but there's pockets to where I use the magnet to actually hold the bolt, the nut, and then work it from there and get that thing in there. It's a little tricky, and it gets done. It's all that matters. So then I end up tightening up these first, being careful. I don't want to scratch nothing. That's 1, 2, and then the bottom one. Alright, and that takes care of those. Put these on. I don't want to lose any of this. Alright. So I'm going to point out the other stuff and explain something to you. So here's the two on the driver's side. 1, and there's 2. And I'll have to trim this end of the bolt down. But before I do that, I'll do it after the engine and the fuel lines and stuff are in. So this way, if I have to put a clamp on this, then I have room to do that. I can add it to this, put a nut on it, and at least then the clamp will hold whatever it is I'm going to run down the side of the frame. So I'm not going to cut that off just yet. But there's the other one. That's the one I just showed you. Here's the thing with these. These are just to hopefully basically give a little support if for some reason someone doesn't realize they shouldn't step on the running boards. The running boards are fiberglass. They're not the traditional metal ones from back in the day. So that being said, I figured I'd add a little support because if someone does step on it, hopefully it'll keep it from going crazy and breaking something. So I can't actually step on this and expect it not to bend. I'm sure it would. But at the end, I couldn't do anything else other than this because this flat part right here is where that piece that they have molded into the running board would sit. So maybe if a bolt went through the other end and that, maybe it'd add a little more resistance, but like I said, this is just for maybe if a child steps on it, it would stop it from cracking. They're not really made to hold, 200 pounds of stepping on it. That's not going to happen. There wasn't enough room to incorporate a brace, say from the top to the end, because like I said, the running board sits on top of here, and I didn't want to run anything underneath it because it wouldn't look right. So it's just a little reinsurance. That's all it's for, and it works out fine. So that's the scoop on that. Next, I'm going to put that brace for the front fenders and the radiator. That's going on next. So once that's in place, I'll chime back in. So in the meantime, stand by. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to show you maybe a little bit of a help situation here when it comes to installing the shock supports on these type of hot rods. They have their own nice chrome, and I did clean these up. Well, the one side I started on first. And the bolts, let me show you. This is the setup. This is what it looks like. So the bolts go from the outside into the frame. Well, the offset to this is naturally this is all kind of boxed in with some openings. This is the way it was back then. It's not like over here where they box this in so they can add more strength and an area where they can weld on the engine mount supports. Okay, so what I do is you can't get your fingers down in there. At least I can't get mine down in there. So you take one of those magnets that are adjustable. I wouldn't use too strong of a one, but strong enough so that extend it out so that you can enter from towards more the front of the frame where they have these ovals cut out and the circles. Well, the oval one you want to go into, and you would attach it like this. Hopefully you could see that. And you would take it into the frame. Well, the other part of this that helps is that the bottom one is a little bit easier because you could see it. So you can finesse it from the side here. But the top one, being towards the top of the frame where you really can't see it, what you do is you pull the bolt out. You could feel with your finger just where the bolt starts to peek through the frame. You just want a little bit sticking out so that you could take your magnet with the bolt at the end, bring it in there, and hover right over it. And once it's there, you can actually feel with your finger, and then pretend this is a nut, but not that one. And then you'll just put your finger over that, and it'll be flush with the bolt, so you can thread it on there. And I find that to work a lot better than anything else I've ever tried. So the magnet that has the adjustable part to it, and you go in from the side, you hold the nut like that to the side, and you go in from the front of the frame, reach back in there, hold it in place, and you should be able to turn it on and make that happen. So I figured I'd show you that. It does help. I believe it will help. And we got new shocks. The other ones they're pitted and they're rusty. They're pretty ugly looking. So the client bought new ones. This is the new one in the package. Here's what the old ones look like. Yeah, they're pretty pitted and rusted. Even at the stem, it's really no cleaning that up. So I'm going to go in and clean the spacers up and the bolts because they're chrome, and then I'm going to install the shock after I tighten them up. So until these are installed, and I got that other cross piece in for the fenders are on, I will chime back in. So until then, stand by. Here we go, and the front shock assembly, including the new shocks, are now in place. And the front fender holder / radiator part section is also mounted. Yeah, really, really sweet. Very nice. Yep, look at that. And then the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put the rear shocks on. I mean, it's in here. I got the tools in here. All I got to do is bring the shocks in and mount them up. So that's what I'm going to do next. So until they're on, stand by. All right, I'm back. And the 2 coil-over shocks are installed. Looks pretty fancy. But right now, I got to say, school is in session. This is important. I'm going to run by you. And what I'm about to say, I've said personally to the person who got carried away with a product called anti-seize. It's good in certain cases, but in this case, Daniela got carried away with anti-seize. And when I was taking them off, originally, before the frame was painted, the stuff was just all over your hands. And if you ever used anti-seize, you know just how, I don't know, really nasty, but the fact, I don't know what else to really say other than nasty. It's very hard to get off. You just can't like wipe it off with a rag. It doesn't work that way. You got to get like brake clean so you can get it out of the pores of your skin. Then you can go wash your hands. And to get it off the product is even more fun. And in the application of what she did installing them, the bar first that's here, I helped her make it, and then she installed it, and then bolted them up. This coil parts had to be adjusted to make it tighter to lift it where it needed. So I explained to her, I said, well, what you did was really uncalled for. You really could have used other products. You could have used just regular motor oil. You could have used WD-40, not a big fan of that. Could have used PB Blaster to lubricate the big nut that goes around the part where you got to tighten it. You could have used anything other than that. And in that moment, expressed that to her, I asked if they were new. Like, did you guys get them new and then install them? She said, yeah. I said, well, it looks like you were kind of rough with them. And here's my thing. Whether you're working on an old vehicle or, 2000 vehicle or even a brand new 2025 vehicle, they all need to be treated with respect and carefulness. Because whether you think that vehicle is junk or it's going to be handled otherwise, it's none of your concern on that. The concern is that person that owns it has an attachment to it for whatever reason, whether it's a car like this and they want to enjoy it and they're going to be spending money on building it. You got to be really careful and be considerate of what you're doing. And even if it's like I said, a 2000 and it's rough, doesn't matter. The parts you're putting on there, have them look as new as you possibly can. And I understand sometimes there's certain conditions and so forth that certain little things happen, but in this case, it didn't have to happen that way. I'm just bothered by it because it's just the way I am. Everybody has their own way of doing things. I have mine, and mine for me alone works and works very well. How else anybody else does it and it works for them, God bless you. Awesome. Make it work. But and I told her going forward, if you're going to help me, if I have you help me put this car together, because to me she's not really she's not lazy, but like laxy-daisy in certain implements of stuff. I can't have that. I will not have that, and I don't care where, why, when, or how, and she already knows that. So if she watches the video, she already knows I told her. I am not talking about her behind her back, because I don't do that. I'll tell you to your face, period. If I decide you have to be the utmost careful, most sensitive, most caring individual when it comes to assembling anything on this car. Because if you're not, and damage happens along the way, I'm going to lose it. And I normally don't lose it. But the only reason why I lose it, because then at that point, knowing I've instructed her otherwise, and it just didn't happen, and gives me some, as far as I'm concerned, lame excuse, that party's over. Go home, have a nice day. Don't need you. I've done enough cars, taken them apart, put them together, and I've done them all by myself. So it's not like I need the help, but sometimes the help is easier to where it can go a little faster and a little smoother. But they got to have the same abilities and mentality and carefulness that you have. If not, you know, put them over another part of the shop where you don't have to be careful, whatever, like you're sandblasting. You knock yourself out. Hop in there and sandblast away. But when it comes to a car of any size, culture, age, whatever, doesn't matter, I have my ways, and here they will be done my way. No other way. I don't care. And I know most people say, this is my shop and it's going to be done my way, and they're right. Should be. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, because that stuff, as I was putting it on, I noticed was even on the coil springs. Like, how in the tarnation did you get them all over, and I mean all over the coil springs? So I grabbed a rag and tried to wipe as much as I could off, but you're smearing it. I washed my hands a couple of times during the process, because one, I don't want that nastiness on my tools. Two, as I'm handling this brand new paint job on here and handling those parts, I don't want that nastiness going on my paint. So, hey, I did what I could, removed the stuff the best I could, and they're on there. So I'm going to give you a little close-up, but that's just my schooling. It's my beef. And like I said before, I've already told her about this, so I'm not talking about her behind her back. And if she thinks I am, oh well, don't care. The client is my main concern. That's what I care about. And making sure I pull this off the way the client wants to see it. And the way it's going, 2 thumbs up. That's right, 2 thumbs up. So I'm going to bring you on in and show you that they're in place. The view from where the drive shaft would be out. Got some color to them, you know, so it breaks up, you know, that's silverish like. Even has the advertisement in there, Jegs. That's nice. Sure. This is the back bottom side view. Yep, there they are. Really nice. Yeah, they're in there, nice and tight and snug. Now this baby is ready to roll on out of here. And roll in there. So I'm going to have to get inside the building, move things around, get stuff out of the way, and put this over to where it'll be out of the way and to where I can roll basically the body and be able to roll it and get it into the spray booth after everything is cleaned out. So in the meantime, stand by, because I got plenty to do, but so far so good on this. I'm loving it. Hang tight. Stand by. I thought this would be the perfect way to end this segment of this video that I'll be posting on Sunday, because today is Friday. Now look at that thing glisten in the sun. Check that out. Oh yeah. It's beautiful. See, get an underneath shot there. Looks like a badass hot rod. Heck, if we had wider tires on the back, it'd really be stompy. Yeah. Let's see if we can pick up any of the colors. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Yeah, you can catch it. Actually, you can see the color of the car, the pearl in the leaf spring, the top, and actually in the top of the frame. It's going to be wild, absolutely wild. I think it looks great. Yep. So, like I had mentioned, I'm going to turn this camera so I can see. Yeah, this is going to end this segment of this video of this frame being painted finally, and some of it assembled. There's more things that got to go on it, but for the most part, I'm rolling it back into the building and put it where it'll be set off to the side so I can have access to the body and get that in the spray booth. But spray booth first has to be cleaned out, pressure washed, all that stuff, and so does the car. The car has to be pressure washed as well. So in the meantime, I do appreciate people watching. If you would subscribe, that'd be great. Make a comment, give me a thumbs up, tell me how much you like it, you hate it, whatever you got to do, just subscribe. So I'm asking, please subscribe. I need them. But never who. Try to get something done until the next time. Have a great weekend.